So you get on stage, man. Are you okay? So is this when you're getting kind of like the shaky knees and all of that shit?
I wasn't like getting the shaky knees. I was more so just amped up, like tense. Cause I just like, again, you gotta think about it. You gotta play your parts right, dude. Like you gotta show motherfuckers you can perform. So like I'm like, all right, dude. Like I want to perform to the best of my ability with being cool and still going hard. It's a pretty weird feeling.
SouLivate.
Second, it's coming. SouLivate episode 4. What up, everybody? I am your host, NazareN, and this is the impeccable, the incredible
Spencer Reese.
Yo, today's episode is dedicated to the man that's sitting right here. But before we go, will you allow me to say something before we go, man?
No, you're forbidden. No, I'm just kidding.
Because today's episode is dedicated to you, which is dedicated to music, because you are all about music. And today's episode is all about live performances and the experiences and the veterans in the live performances.
Let's go.
But before we start, man, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone, especially to my gorgeous, beautiful wife, Romaniya Poet, because with her being a little hustler out there and like hitting people up, and with Spence and with everybody, with all of y'all love, we made it to the quarterfinals, and we are at the top of the quarterfinals for the Rolling Stone America's Next Top Hitmaker. And I couldn't thank you enough. Thank you to my wife, man. This is so beautiful, and we keep going, man. So I just wanted to say that.
Blessings.
So without further ado, I bring to you Mr. Spencer Reese.
You were saying.
And the experience, man. So Spencer Reese had a show with his band Tripod. I'm going to just say these few things, man, with his Tripod. And brother, sorry that I didn't make it, because the only reason why we didn't make it is because you said it was a mosh pit, which you're going to tell us later if the mosh pit happened or not, man. So that was the only reason why we didn't come, man. So Spence, please, man. How was it? Do not miss details, man. What is that experience like, man?
I got so much to talk about. It's insane. So, I mean, I'll just take it from the beginning, just like when we got everybody over at the house and we were just kind of starting up. So basically, like last night and shit, or actually not last night, but like during the daytime, probably like 1 or 2 o'clock, my band rolled through. We got like a pre-practice in before the show just to like warm up and get like tight. We've been practicing for the past like, I'm going to say like at least like 2 to 3 months worth of just rehearsing and doing all that.
I'm really sorry, man. I'm really sorry, because I think that you misunderstood me when I said details, because you're starting a little late, man, because from what I understand, first of all, we want to know as far as how the whole merch thing happened and the night before the concert, because from what I understand, you were working the whole day, making sure that you have all the instruments, all the equipment and things like that. Am I correct, man?
Yeah, for sure.
Don't miss these details, brother. We want
to you want it from the real, like the beginning.
We want to know the juice, bro, because this is, first of all, I want to make sure that we document this experience. And second of all, this will be very informative to all the young cats out there that's thinking about live performance and maybe nervous and don't know what to do, man. So please.
Well, I mean, just for starters, I mean, before you even get into a gig, you want to make sure your band is tight, just in rehearsals, period. Like I'm fortunate enough to have a space here at my house where, we can all just come together and like, we can practice our songs and such. We've written our songs all here too in our studio, and we correlated a set list. We basically, all 4 of us, we went through our songs. We picked songs that were going to be, relatively good to start playing out for. It was a short set. We only did 4 songs in total.
That's not bad for a first show. That's not bad at all, man.
No, not at all. Especially, for a first show, that's very standard. A lot of bands that are just coming out, they start with like 4 to 5 songs, especially if they're on an opener standpoint.
Yeah.
If you're headlining or like, you're at the end of the night or some shit, then like different story. You might want to, bug in like 6 or 7, maybe 8, depending on what's up. And it also depends on the crowd too. I mean, like, sometimes when you get to a headliner standpoint, there might be less people because people might dip, people might hit the bar and go drink or something. So this all stuff to consider. But we came up with our set list. We came up with 4 songs. We've been rehearsing for the longest time. And then yeah, so as far as like loading up gear, so a lot of the gear that we have for my band is mine. And then part of it is, the rest of my bands that, they own and, their own guitars, their pedal boards, their anything they use, their heads for their amplifier, like whatever.
Is it a shitload of equipment? Like is it a lot? Because from what I understand, the night before of the concert, you were like packing pretty much the whole day, right?
Well, so I'm just a slowpoke. So like I unfortunately like kind of procrastinated last minute to try to do all of it. And I also forgot too. So when I was doing the packing the day before, I forgot the day after, which was gig day yesterday. We were gonna practice before the show. We wanted to get a practice in just to warm up and shit. So like literally once I packed everything in the car, my buddies reminded me, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to take the shit back out the car because we need it for tomorrow to practice before we go. You mean? So that's a big important thing. It's like if you're in a band and like your band buddies like all decide with you like on practice day, or not practice day, but gig day, they want to practice before the gig. Don't load up the car a day before because you're gonna have to haul that shit back out. I'm just dumb as hell. It happens. But anyways, yeah. So as far as gear, we got a lot of stuff. Yeah, we got a lot of cables. In this case, I mean, for the venue, they had a drum kit already at the actual venue for me to use. So I only had to bring like my cymbals.
I was about to ask you that, man. I was about to ask you because think about bringing a freaking drum with you, bro.
Well, that's the thing. It's you can't see it. I mean, it's all like disassembled right now and shit. But you got a floor tom, a kick drum, a rack tom, a snare drum, and then whatever else you use that you're comfortable with. I'm a 4-piece guy, so like I'm pretty simple, but like some guys they'll use like 8 drums, 7 drums, 5, 6, whatever they're comfortable with. So typically if there's a house kit at the venue, most of the time the bands just use that kit for the whole night just to keep it like flowing, and you don't have to move around drums and move shit and fucking put it in the green room or the back room temporarily until the next band comes on. So I kept it pretty simple for the night. But yeah, I took my cymbal stands, my cymbals, my kick pedal, my personal snare drum that I like to use, and then my microphones in case we needed them. But the venue had all that. And then as far as guitars, I mean, it was 2 4x12 cabs. We packed in 2 amplifier heads for the top. We have a EVH 5150. And then our bassist Vic, he has like a Mark bass tube head, so he brought that. And then they just brought their guitars and pedals. So it was actually like it's a lot of shit to put into one car, but when you have multiple people with you from your band helping you load it, it's like a piece of cake. It takes like 30 minutes.
What did you guys do? Did you rent a van or did you have a van? Like, how does that go, man?
So I got lucky. I drive a Nissan Altima, so trying to shove all that shit in my car was never going to work. So my dad, he has an SUV. It's like a big fucking Chevy, like I think it's an Equinox or something. I'm not sure, but it's a big red car. It's an SUV, and it held everything, like everything. We just like put the seat down, shoved the cabs in the back, and then we just loaded the fuck out of that shit, So it was pretty easy. We got lucky, but we want to eventually get a trailer in the future. I think if like coming for like new bands or local bands that are starting up, as far as transporting shit, it's definitely a good idea for all of you fellas to like invest into one trailer. Trailers you can find on Marketplace for like $800 to like $1,000. If you split that between 4 people, that's not too bad.
You mean a trailer that you hook up to a car, like
like a hitch trailer. Like there's different ones. You have the trailers that are just like flat and there's it's not enclosed, and then the enclosed ones kind of look like a box. That's the ones that most bands take because they can just keep everything in one place. It's enclosed. You can close the back of it, hitch it to a car, and then take it like you're going on a camping trip. So it's definitely helpful if you got that. But my gig is like if you have an SUV, that's your best bet. If you have a sedan, you're fucked. Like just plain out like that, you're screwed. Like unless you take multiple sedans and you split the gear into each sedan because you got a trunk in the back seat. One 4x12 could fit in the trunk of a car, and then all the gear can sit in the back seat. But
so how did you guys plan as far as like what to like, as far as merchandise, and as far as the set that you were to perform, like
Yeah.
did that take you a long time to kind of like brainstorm, and like how did that come along, man?
So we freestyled it because it was our first gig. We were just like, all right, we're gonna just do 15 tees. You know what I'm saying? It's a rather low quantity, but it's economically
Nah,
pricing
that's
good
enough.
for us.
That's enough for a first show. That's enough, bro.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like if for a very first show, that's good to start out with. A lot of the other bands, like they didn't really bring merch tables for this first show. We were actually, I'll be honest, and like no disrespect to all the bands, like they did their thing, but like Tree Pop was very prepared. Like we were dumb prepared. We had our table, we had all of our gear, we had extra gear in case we needed it. We were overloaded purposely in case of anything. And it's funny because like all the other bands ended up using our table because they didn't bring tables. They subbed out and put their merch there. So we all shared it. And
That's
that was actually
that's love.
that was a really nice experience to see. Like, we got to help all the other bands, show their stuff off to make their sales if they need
That's
to.
love, man. That's love. That's what's up. That's music,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah. And as far as like payments and stuff for the table too, we had, QR codes on pieces of paper, Cash App, Venmo, and then cash. So, and we obviously had like cash on deck in case people wanted to, exchange change or whatever. But yeah, as far as the actual merch goes, yeah, we freestyled it. We were just like 15 tees. We're lucky because we have a friend that lives locally to, the spot we got right here. And God, he's like probably 5 minutes away, but he does a lot of t-shirt and printing design for like the whole tri-state and like Philly. Like he works with rappers, bands, like just companies, brands, whatever. So we got lucky finding him and he hooked us up last minute. He came in very clutch. Shout out Nick. I love you. You know what I'm saying? It was a really good experience. And we just started out with tees. We were thinking for the longest time, like, oh, let's do hats, like let's do hoodies, blah, 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 blah. And we were just like, all right, we're gonna just start with tees. It's simple,
That's what's up.
it's cheaper, and it's straight to the point. And we sold out. That's
And
the thing. Yeah.
who doesn't want a tea, right?
That's what I'm saying. We sold our tees for $15. Like production cost was like a little bit less than that, but we still made a really good profit. And I think for any band
That's
starting out, like
that's
tees
incredible, bro.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
incredible. Congratulations. So
thank you, man.
So take us to the beginning of the day of the concert. Like what's going through your head? How are you guys preparing? Are you doing any last minute like fixer uppers? Like what's going on like yesterday throughout the day, man?
For sure. So yeah, so when everybody came over to the house here, we got lucky too because Matt brought his friend Christian. Fun fact: so Christian, he's actually a professional guitar tech for this band called From Ashes to New. He's also been on tour with Shine Down, 3 Days Grace. He's a real professional dog. So like he was helping us and giving us pointers and tips the whole night, even when we got to setting up later. So he was looking out for us and making sure, like, all right, put this here, make sure y'all guitars are tuned, like everything. He was just checking everything. So he helped us out a lot. But when we were at practice, we just did the same thing. Like it's just like any other practice. We ran through the songs. I just made sure like on my parts, like if I was unconfident about something or if I was like sus about something, I'd be like, all right, like let's run through that again. Let me make sure I tighten up real quick. You know what I mean? And we just did our set list like probably like 3 or 4 times. Just ran through it. And then we just were like, all right, we're good. I took a shower because I was sweaty already. Took a shower, got my outfit on, and then we just started loading the car for like a solid like 40 minutes.
What did you feel internally throughout the day? Like, were you getting nervous? Like, keep it trills.
I didn't get nervous until we're gonna perform, like right before we were about to perform, like in front of everybody.
Wait, we're not there yet because.
But like I'm saying, like when leading up to that, I wasn't.
Okay,
I was cool.
Okay.
I was pretty cool about like just everybody in all of our parts. I was pretty confident. I was more so stressed about getting the gear to the show because I hate driving. I fucking hate it. It's like you're driving 45 minutes with all this stuff in the back of the car dolo, and then you're getting through 5 o'clock traffic in Philly. You got to sit there for 20, 30 minutes with all these cars. You're like, so, and we went to Ardmore, like, we take fucking 95 down the whole way,
all the way,
until
right?
you get, literally up until you get to the exits. So like, I was just sitting in traffic the whole time. That was what I was more stressed about, and that was the annoying part. But on the actual practice part, we were good.
So take us to the setting. Like, what does the you get there, what does the place look like? Are people there already? Like, you know what I'm saying? What's the setting like? What's the atmosphere like? Are you the first band to perform? Who's the first? Like, take us through those details, man.
Sure. So when we got there, it's a dive bar first off, so it's like pretty open to begin with. It was tiny. It was a small venue. It's called the Fire. It's in Philly. The bar was beautiful. I mean, the live room itself was like, it was small, but it was like big enough to move around and have fun in. You know, it was kind of like a corridor kind of room. Like you have the stage at the back. It's like a one shot. You know, stage is like right here type shit, and then like the merch tables are like all the way back here. Right. And then it's like you have like the green room like farther off that way, you know what I'm saying, where you can load in your gear and walk in to do. But when we pulled up, I mean, like there was nobody there. I mean, I think we were the first ones there. We were like we weren't early. We were like 10 minutes late because we had to drive through traffic, but we still managed to be the first ones. And YDC pulled up after us and then, you know, ended all and then the other bands. And then we just started loading in our gear. Just putting our shit in the back room for anything we weren't using. But the atmosphere was fantastic. I mean, the whole place was really cool. Solid nightclub looking vibes. Stage was cool. They had a ton of, oh my God, they had a ton of extra gear. Just like they call it backline, which is anything like bands can just use that's already there. They had a shit ton of stuff in the back in case we like didn't have something. Like they were locked and loaded. Yeah.
So who were the first to go on?
Tripod.
Oh, so you guys were the first to go on. Okay, so
yeah.
What time around are you guys going on stage, and are people already there? Like, is it getting heated up? Like, what's that looking like, man?
So leading up, so our set time was initially going to be 7:15. The show was starting at 7, but we only had like a 10, 12-minute set tops worth of stuff to play. And we told them that in advance. And we were like, all right, well, we have a half hour's worth of time to play if we like, but we're only going to use like probably 10 to 12 minutes worth of that. And it actually worked out better because the band after us took the longest to set up. So we gave them more time because we had a shorter set. So that was cool. Yeah, leading up to that, it started packing in for sure. And like I said, I mean, we did sell, like specifically for yesterday, we did sell pretty much the most walk-in tickets. Like the majority of the people like that were there came to see us, you know, and there was obviously people for the other bands, you know, regardless. But we sold a good amount of tickets for our first gig ever. I mean, like we got some money on. We were really happy.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, right before we were about to perform, like, you know, everybody kind of just packed in, got in a half circle and shit. Our parents came, which was cool. We had family pop out, first time to come through for that. And, you know, they all bought shirts and they, you know, paid the bread to get in and stuff. So like,
shout out to the fam, bro.
Literally all of our members, like in the band, like all of our, you know, family members popped out. Like my mom and dad came, our bassist sister, and like I believe
so
like
what
his brother came.
What the F, man? I'm sorry. So there was no mosh pit, because that's the only reason why we didn't come through, is because now I feel bad. I'm like, the fam was there and I wasn't there. Like, oh, yo, then your next show, I'm there, bro, man. Like for real.
Next show is September 7th at Sweeney's. And there was a mosh pit. There was.
I'm not skipping that, man. So you get on stage, man. Are you okay? So is this when you're getting kind of like the shaky knees and all of that shit?
I wasn't like getting the shaky knees. I was more so just amped up, like tense. Because I just like, again, you got to think about it. You got to play your parts right, dude. Like you got to show motherfuckers you can perform. So like, I'm like, all right, dude. Like I want to perform to the best of my ability with, you know, being cool and still going hard. It's a pretty weird feeling, you know, but once you get like a song or two in, when you play, you loosen up and you're like, all right, fuck this shit. Like I'm not scared. I'm good now. I'm just going to bug out. You know, it's just like, it's the first 2 songs like worth of a set that'll like probably get in your head a little bit. You know, you're worried about if the crowd's going to just be stale. You're worrying about if you're going to fucking hit a drum wrong, or if you're going to, you know, mess up a string, like, you know, all that stupid shit. It's just like the overthinking. It's like, it's an overthinking process that happens. But yeah, once we got into it, we were good.
I just want to say, man, to all you wackos out there, all you whack ass mofos out there, man, this is not no rapper going on stage and going, yo, whoa, whoa. This is live instruments, bro.
Like, real shit.
This is a whole other shit, man. I know I used to perform a lot, man, as a teenager, and that takes energy out of you. You know, just being a rapper, man. I couldn't imagine. So you guys are doing the first song and you feeling good. The crowd is reacting. Tell me about the crowd's reaction, man.
Yeah, so it was wild. Like off the bat, like motherfuckers just started bugging, like in the most fun, energetic way. And it was like a lot of our family members kicked it towards the back, like where the merch tables was, because in the hardcore scene or just in metal in general, you're gonna have a bunch of nutty kids spinning their fucking bodies around like they're doing karate. You know what I'm saying? And throwing haymakers, trying to smack people purposely, because that's just what the scene is. And like, I don't think my mom wants to get hit in the face. So all the family members kicked it in the back and they were just recording and having a good time. Although Matt's girlfriend, our guitarist girlfriend, she was to the side, a little more towards the front, and one of the other dudes in the crowd fucking was spinning and hit her ass. And that shit was like, I ain't gonna lie. I thought that shit was fucking hilarious. She was cool about it. She was a little salty, but I mean, I talked to her after the show and I told her, like, that's just what it is. Like, if you come to a hardcore show or a metal show, like, there's a chance you could get hit if you're near the pit for sure. Don't get in the pit if you don't want to get hit, But everybody else, like all the family and everyone was just kicking it.
So how many people would you say, did you know how many people were there?
Well, I mean, we sold 14 tickets for us at the door and then 2 online. So like, and then like the other bands, like they had anywhere from like 5 to like 8. Like that's like rough, maybe like 4 to 8 roughly each band.
Wow.
Like varying, like maybe I think one band had like 2 or 3 at the door. One band had like 5, and then another band had like maybe 6 type shit. So like we had some crowd, some people from the other bands popping out in the crowd. But yeah, first go around for us playing, everybody was in.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody packed in and was like, all right, let's watch these guys. Fuck it. I don't know if they knew, like if the crowd knew if I was like our first gig or what the fuck it was, but like
didn't know. They probably didn't know, bro.
I don't think they did, which is weird. But like when they just popped out for us, everybody was there. I was like, okay, bet. Like, say no more.
You know what I have to say is that as a performer, like as an artist, I think that these first initial shows were like, there's the crowd is not like 500 and up. I think those are the best experiences, bro. And
100%.
yeah, and this is why even like artists that are already like legit, like out there, artists that's been doing it for years, they miss those shows, you know what I'm saying, like those personal, because you can interact with the crowd, it's not as crazy out there, man. And I think, and those are so rock star type of venues, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're totally right. And like the coolest thing about like shows that don't have barricades, or like shows that like maybe there's a security guard chilling in the back so nobody dies, but like shows that have like stage to crowd and crowd to stage and there's no breakthrough or barrier in between, it's intimate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get to obviously meet the bands one-on-one, see them at the merch table even after they perform. You know what I'm saying? You can talk to them, even if they're they're your favorite band. If you're a fan, you get to meet your favorite band right then and there, bro. Even if they're tiny, like that's the coolest shit ever. Like, I will take a smaller venue where I can be intimate and meet the fans, you know what I'm saying, and speak to them and shit and actually connect with them, before I take up on like I mean, don't get me wrong, a huge festival with, real corporate fucking eventful settings and stage, etiquette is obviously amazing, but dude, like small underground venues are where it's at. This is SouLivate. It's a beautiful thing.
So what songs did you guys perform, and so it was 4 songs, like were these your 4 singles? Like what songs did you perform? Can you go through the songs?
Yeah. So we did this song called A Storm Awaits, which is just an intro. And then we did a song off of our Defective EP called Twisted Reality. And then third song was called False Reflections. That was off of the same EP. And then the fourth song was a brand new single that we dropped yesterday on gig day. Like it came out yesterday, like literally gig day. So
did you guys plan that shit? Because we
pre-planned it.
That's hard, bro. That's hard, man.
We wanted to have the chance to announce it to all the fans right then and there. And we also made flyers on our merch table that QR coded to the single. The actual Bite
Mm.
Marks single. The song was called Bite Marks, is called Bite Marks. And if motherfuckers wanted to, take a flyer and go listen to the last song at home, it's right then and there. You can just QR code it, scan it, and go listen. So that's like firsthand marketing. You know what I mean? Like
Yo,
that's trying to promote it in person.
forget about marketing, man. As you're telling me this, you know what I'm thinking about? That you guys will go far and for long, because this is what you call, forget marketing, bro. This is what you call when you actually care about the fans, bro.
Yeah.
When you actually care, like doing these little surprises and, you know what I'm saying, going out there and preparing this brand new single and announcing it on stage. Like, this is caring for the fans, because
Straight up.
for the next show, they're gonna be like, yo, what are these crazy motherfuckers gonna do now? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. It's always that like mental thought of like, what are they gonna do that's gonna be different? Like from the last show. Like we have a plan eventually. I can't say too much, but we got a really cool like life-size like action figure guy that we bought, and we want to do like a concert where we do like we let the crowd interact with him in a way. We're gonna save that though. We're gonna save that for a really good time, but
wow.
it's gonna be some cool shit. That's just a little preview, but we got some little plans up our sleeve for sure.
That's what's up. So how was the harmony between you guys as the band as you're playing these songs?
Surprisingly in sync as fuck. Like it was like no other day. Like if it were practice day, like when we practice, like we're all like this. So it's like when we're on stage, like I was worried like we were gonna fucking sidetrack, or like I was gonna miss something and fuck the band up, but like we were right there. We didn't, like, we were locked the fuck in, and we crushed it. Like we did so good. I mean, on the only thing that was kind of a downer though is like the sound guy, just as far as the mix goes for like live sound, was like a little bit off. Like Joel's vocals were like pretty low. Like Matt's guitar was a little fucking cranked too much, and then like my drums were like kind of in the middle of that a little bit. So like trying to get the mix right for the performance aspect was a little shot out. And even people in the crowd said that too. They were like, dude, we could barely hear Joel. Like it was just pretty loud, but like we needed to hear him more, obviously. You know, that was important. And yeah, we told the sound guy after and shit. So yeah.
How hard is it to do 4 songs? Because a lot of people don't realize that, like, sometimes when you see a performer go like for an hour, like this is hard work, bro. Like that shit
is
because you're giving it your all. This is sort of like a fighter's in the cage or in the ring, bro. You're literally giving it your all. So how tough was like physically doing the set?
I mean, being honest, like in metal, it's a lot more about speed and, you know, kind of technicality for the most part. And that's just kind of like, I guess, like a rainbow, an umbrella of metal. When it comes to hardcore though, and like what we do, like we like to keep it simple. We're very like to the point, but we want to make sure being to the point, it sounds the best to the point because it's simple. You know what I'm saying? So our songs, like there's parts in our songs that like are kind of tough for me to play. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other parts that are tough for Matt to play. You know, and then there's other parts for Joel where he's screaming a lot and it's hard to keep his breath up and shit. So it's a challenge for sure. It's a workout. Like people think like, you know, you get on stage and you play, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you done.
No.
It's like, no, bro. Like it's a fucking workout mentally, physically. You got to worry about crowd control and getting them excited the whole time on top of being able to perform and, you know, do your best. You know what I'm saying? It's game day. It's just like if it were a football game, like you got to show out. You know, so yeah, there was like, especially in Bite Marks, there's like a couple parts where I do a lot of double kick with both of my legs, and holy fuck, man, like that shit can wear your legs out if you don't know how to, you know, have some feet technique and shit. So yeah, there's definitely going to be some pieces in your sets. Like if you're like starting out and shit and you're making metal, like you're probably going to find if you write parts for your music that you know you can play, you'll be good. But if you take it a step up and challenge yourself, that's when the performance aspect of like shit can be a little harder comes to play, for sure.
How long do you think is a good set to do, like a good concert? Like how long do you think, like should you go for an hour? Should you go for 2 hours? Like what's gonna be, you know, a little too much? What's a little too tiring? Like from the experience that you got last night, man.
Yeah.
Like let's say you guys had to do another 5 song. Would you be there like physically?
I mean, considering it's our first gig, I can't say for sure. Because again, the whole idea of practicing is to prep yourself for that, you know? But I'm chewing gum, by the way, my fault. As far as I'd say adding songs, you kind of have to consider it based on your set times. So if you have set times that are only like 20 to 30 minutes long, typically you're going to want to have songs that equal to that, plus time in between those songs to take a break for a couple minutes and talk with the crowd and like get a drink of water or like, I don't know, do a leg stretch or something, you know, fucking squat. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends. It really just depends on the set time and what you're trying to shoot for. I think if you're trying to go into 2 hours worth of jamming, you got to have 2 hours worth of music. I mean, it's simple as that. If you can jam out metal for 2 goddamn hours long, be my guest. Me, oh my God, I can't go for 2 hours unless I'm like really trained, like physically, like my mental's right there with it. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Most bands typically, when they're doing underground shows, it ranges from like anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes for a set time. That's typical. And that's with like 4 to 5 other bands on the lineup. But if you're headlining a festival or like something that's big and corporate, you know, and there's like real planning that's going into it, and like maybe you're a headlining band at that point, you have success, and like they're giving you like a fucking hour to like an hour and 15, they're like, yeah, you gotta be on point for that. You gotta practice the whole way. So yeah.
So how many other bands were there, and was there a headliner? And if there was, who was the headliner? Like what were some of the other bands?
So it was us that started. The second band that went on is called this band called Crumb Creek. And then it was this band called End It All. They're from, I think, Philly, I believe. I'm not sure where Crumb Creek's from. They might be from Jersey, but I might be wrong. And then the headliner was Youth Death Club. They're the ones that correlated the whole show, put it on for the fire, and like got in connections and then threw us the bone and said, come join us. Initially, there was going to be one more person by the name of Shank. And funny enough, our bassist is the one that got him on the bill, but he got pneumonia. So shout out Shank, man. No, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry you missed it. It was a really good set, man. But hey, man, all good for the mental health and, you know, the physical health. You got to be able to recover. Pneumonia sucks.
So
you know,
how did the other bands, in your judgment, like how did they do, man?
I feel like everybody did great as far as playability. I mean, a lot of those other cats that are, you know, that were on the lineup with us, like they've been playing other shows a long time, like before, you know, us and shit. So they've already had gig experience and like, you know, they're locked in. And a lot, yeah, I didn't hear one bad thing out of the bands. Like everybody had their own style, their own swag. The only thing that I personally wish could have been better though was like for End It All set, which was the third band out of the night. They had the least amount of people in that bitch, but they performed so damn good. Like they probably had maybe like fucking 5 people in that room. And whereas like we had maybe like 20, 30, and like they performed incredibly. They're like a deathcore band. It's like, you know, super screamy shit, but their playability is fucking phenomenal. They were gas. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, damn, I wish they could have had some real people sit in the, you know, in the room and really watch them and appreciated them. You know, everybody was outside smoking and bar vibes, you know, talking to heads. And then that was the other thing too. A lot of the people that came for Tree Pod was like a lot of our personal friends and family. So once we were done, they dipped. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the crowd was just whoever was left for them bands. And yeah, I feel like End It All could have got more shine for the night, just overall. But playability wise, everybody was on point. Super dope. YDC killed their set. Crumb Creek killed their set. The fun thing about YDC though at the end was like that was the time I got the chance to mosh, like really mosh, and like I was going fucking ape shit. I'm gonna just be so honest, like nobody, like there was probably like 1 or 2 other people that were moshing, and like us 3, like nobody wanted to fuck with us in the pit. Like I was like
out of some people, bro.
I wasn't kicking the shit out of people, but like in the middle of the pit, because like think of it, like it's like a half circle. So like say like my thumbs is like the front of the stage and shit. Like I'm in the dead middle, like right here, and I'm just fucking I look like a goddamn like a fent addict, just like like I'm just bugging the whole time, just like getting it out, just hitting fucking imaginary people in the air, you know, because that's just what it is. It's just
that's
like it's just releasing, you know, just energy. It's just all about releasing energy.
Yeah,
you know,
releasing endorphins.
Yeah,
But
get my Planet Fitness workout in for the day.
so all right, so listen, man, get the humble out of the way and speak
So
the truth. Did Treepot steal the night last night?
did we steal the night?
Yes.
Hmm.
Get the humble out of here, man. We want like give it to us raw, bro. Y'all took the night last night. This is what it sounds like, man.
Honestly, I feel like we did. And that's like I said, it's not to shame the other bands, but if we're just looking at ticket sales and we're just looking at, merch sales and stuff and just being prepared, I definitely think we were on point with that and we were, definitely ahead of the game a little bit more. But like I said, shout out all the other bands. Every gig is different too. There could have been gigs even prior to this fucking gig where YDC stole the show and they killed it. They brought the most people out, and the rest of the bands got to eat off of that. Or like maybe End It All had another gig, and they brought the most people out, and they got to eat off of that. So it all depends on the show and the area too. The local support is really the biggest factor that plays into the shows. I mean, we're from Levittown, and that's Levittown, PA, by the way, people. Don't forget it. Philly's a 30-minute commute. So a lot of people that go out to Philly live out here in the suburbs with us. You know what I'm saying? It's an easy drive. And we also, that's the other thing too, even before the gig, I was really social media heavy of promoting the entire fucking thing. I went on Facebook. I jumped in like every single fucking chat I could find with like 2,000 people, 10,000 people, 3,000 people, local music scenes, local gigs going on, poster show. I would just spam the fuck out of that shit.
Get your notepads out, yo.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all kids some shit right now, man. If you're not out there and you're not reaching out and pushing out what you got coming up, nobody's coming to find you, bro. You got to be on social media like a motherfucker. It's just the unfortunate nature of life right now, and just music in general for like local scenes.
Listen, that's a fortunate nature though, man. Don't let me start telling you what my days starting out was like in the early 2000s, bro.
Way fucking different. That's a whole other ball game of hustle.
Don't let me. So it's a fortunate nature, man.
Real shit.
You told me, and plus, you're gonna send me some more videos. You sent me one yesterday. I'm gonna plug all of these in, like while we're talking. I want the people to see, man, to get, because you were jamming the F out, bro. I'm so proud of you, man. You look so good, man.
Thank you, man. That drum cam, that's a drum cam video. I'm gonna be posting that later on the week, so be on the lookout for that, peeps.
You told me something, but I can plug it in the show, though, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Absolutely, please.
So you were telling me something very interesting, kind of gave me goosebumps in the middle of the night, because you said that recording and writing and like all of that, everything else that goes in with making music, that performing is your favorite. Like you figured out that this is your favorite. So please tell us about the feelings now. We want to hear about the feelings, man.
The post feelings from when we finished performing, at least for me, was just like, it's a relief for one, obviously, because you met your own standards and you feel good about how you performed. Self-judgment and self-critique is a very big thing, especially in, being as an artist or a rapper or in a band or whatever. So being able to self-critique after the shows and saying to yourself, damn, I did good. And actually, you feel that, it makes you feel really damn good. Like I did my part and I did really well. That's really rewarding. I think one of the biggest feelings I had, besides that, was like, honestly, just like a sense of community and just love, I guess you could say, from just all the support from like all of our band members' families, all of our friends that came out. I had 2 friends that I went to Pennsbury with. They only came out for us. Shout out Davis. And I forget the other kid's name, but he came through too. And they just pulled up, watched our set, bought a shirt, dipped. You know what I mean? Like they just wanted to be there for us. And
beautiful.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I wish they would have stayed longer. It would have been cool. But either way, it's still the sense of community that is so fucking rewarding at the end of it all. Like there's people there that are interacting, whether it's through violence, whether it's through hugging people, through crying, through, jamming out with your friends. Maybe y'all are drunk and it's like, let's go, whatever it is. Just to see a response, period, to something you made that's original, you
Yes.
know what I'm saying, in a positive way. And it's even better if whatever you wrote about in the song is positive because it can help people. I mean, the response to that is awesome. It's like a feeling no other, dude. It's like you feel like a king. I swear to God, you feel like a king. You know,
What was the exchange of energy while you're performing, man? What was the electricity like, bro?
it was like a spazzy ball of just thousands of emotions. It's like, I mean, for the most part, it's rage. It's like controlled violence, but it's not to hurt people.
It's
It's
beautiful
more,
rage.
it's beautiful. Exactly. It's beautiful rage. It's to, a lot of the people that go to these shows and get in these pits and do these fucking crazy things that we do, including myself, we do it because we're trying to release something that's pent up in us, and the music, it just kind of brings that out and characterizes through that, and that's a beautiful thing. I think what's going to be even cool in the future is if we start getting bigger crowds and we start writing a lot more. Like we've wrote some really deep shit. Joel mainly for the most part because he's written on pretty much everything. Um, Seeing a crowd response that's going to be like, because this is just our first show. This was just kids moshing. It's going to be really amazing to see like people come up and huddle his ass on stage, jump up on stage with them, grab the fucking mic and sing along too. Like give the mic to the crowd and put it in their fucking face. Like you're one of us type shit. That's the type of shit that when I see it, I'm going to be like, wow, that's going to blow my damn brain in half. And I'm going to be like, yo, I love it from the first gig standpoint, but when we get to that point, I'm gonna be speechless because again, like the cool thing about hardcore punk music in general is it's very community driven. It's so community driven. The underground scene in Philly to begin with is like very community driven, and a lot of bands, even bands like that are signed from being, a hardcore band, punk band, getting into the professional standpoint, they still don't forget where the fuck they came from. They still play the small venues, the hot motherfucking rooms
Mhm.
that suck, but they just love the fact that people are in there. They still go to the merch table and talk to everybody. They're not on
Wow,
some fucking Hollywood shit. That's the beautiful thing about the scene is like it's just all one big family, no matter
that's what's
what.
up.
And we all got different problems. We all got different fucking, demons. We all got different stories. And that's all for us to tell to each other and talk about, maybe see each other in the pit for.
Yo, you know what I think is beautiful, man? Like listening to you talk is that like when you're talking about your feelings, you're mostly talking about like appreciating the crowd that's there to support you. But
Absolutely.
but you also have to, and because they're giving a lot of themselves to you, right?
Yeah,
But don't forget that the reason they're there is because you are giving a lot to them.
absolutely.
And that's why I think
Totally
it's so
right.
beautiful because it's this synergy, like
Yeah.
you guys are exchanging this beautiful thing, man, these beautiful unforgettable moments that will last forever, man. You're always gonna remember this first show, bro. You
Oh
know what I'm
my
saying?
God.
Like,
Dude, I wish I didn't get photos at it. Unfortunately, we got videos, but like, dude, like I even told like the band, I was like, dude, I got to make sure I bring the camera next time and we get some pictures for a scrapbook, man. Like I want to be able to like we got to make sure we remember every show that we do or just like have a track record.
yo, next time I'm gonna come out and bring a bunch of cameras, bro, and set up.
Please
Like if
go
you
ahead,
know what I mean? Yeah,
please.
yeah.
We'd be more than blessed to have that, man.
But I think it's really beautiful, man. I wish that we would have more artists like yourself that think so much about the crowd. I don't want to say fans, like, but fans you can call them family and people that are,
Absolutely.
what I'm saying, that are there to support, man. But
Yeah.
but at the same time, again, you're giving so much to them. And what I
Mhm.
what I really appreciate, like from hearing about your experiences, that you guys, again, I said it already, that you thought about so much. Like you weren't just like nonchalant, like whatever, we're gonna go out there and do our thing. Like you actually
Yeah.
thought about, and and that brand new single, and like you really cared. And I think that
Yeah.
we need more artists like that, man.
Yeah, and I think that's how we want to try to approach every gig as much as we can. I mean, maybe it'll get to a point where we have so many gigs going on, like maybe at some point one of us or a few of us kind of feel like it's getting dragged out. Like I want to be able to sit there and like every single show I want it to be, you know, an experience, but maybe there's one little thing that's different. Maybe there's one little thing or one piece of time that, you know, changes the setting and what's going on. And it just, you know, the characterization of the whole show goes hand in hand. Like, you know, there's obviously things people do in, you know, tradition at hardcore shows. You got a mosh pit, you got kids that jump off the stage and do fucking cartwheels and shit. Maybe you have a weird emo girl eating a cheeseburger that gets hit in the face. Like, you know, you never know what's going to happen, but that's the fun in it. You never know what's going to happen. So what the fuck? If the shows are like that for the crowd, why the fuck we don't, why the fuck we do that for them? Make sure like we give them something they're never going to expect. Whether it be like, oh, maybe we have an extra t-shirt or something that's brand new that only the people of this show get. Maybe like next fucking show, we do an acoustic set outside after the show's done.
Taking notepads out. Taking notepads out. Start taking these notes, yo.
maybe another show we'll sit there. We'll take, you know, VIP fucking pictures with the fans. Like, we want to make every show as special as possible for the people that come to support us, because our fans are literally the backbone of us. You know what I'm saying? And we're fucking early. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have the biggest crowds or anything like that yet, but we're going to get there. You know what I mean? And like, we want to cater to everybody as much as ourselves too, and be special for them too.
So what was the energy like in the ride? Did you guys ride together? Like, what was the energy like conversing after the show? Like, what was that?
I gotta fucking talk about rides. Hold on. So listen, you want to know the most annoying fucking part of shows? Rides. I swear to fucking Christ. Listen, right? So we managed, like I said, we managed to fit all of the gear in one car, right? There's 4 people in a band, okay? Maybe one of our band members wants to drink and hang out, right? And his girl's there. Or maybe like, you know, friend's got a dip because he's got to go do something. Or like, maybe they just want to hang in Philly because they just are in Philly and it's nice. You know, pre-planning your rides, just before I get into it all, pre-planning your ride situation is so goddamn important, especially if you're in a band. Figuring out who's just taking the gear and then where's everybody going after the show, and what the worst case scenario is going to be if people want to hang out after the show. The ride homes, though, that's all I have to say about that. But the rides home for all of us was great. I mean, like, I brought Joel home, our singer. He just rode with me in my car. Matt ended up staying in Philly because his girlfriend lives in Westchester. And initially, Matt was going to take Joel home back to my house because his car was here, and then he was going to dip home. But think about it, it's like, Matt's in Philly. He already drove 45. You got to drive 45 back and then fucking an hour to Westchester back again. So he stayed. You know what I mean? Christian ended up staying. Yeah, the rides for all of us was just beautiful. Like, you know what's the other crazy thing too? Driving there, you know, because we were in traffic, was like, you know, long as shit. And then getting home, it was like 30 minutes. I was just booking it through 95, and we were just talking the whole way. Like, we couldn't stop talking about the show.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I wanted to know. Were you guys conversing and like, and the results for you were like, you guys were happy about what happened that night, man?
We talked more about it right after we finished. Like, once we finished performing, we all huddled up and like, you know, hung out at the merch table and shit. And we were kicking on the couch, and we were just like, literally just going over everything that just happened. You know what I'm saying? And then once the rides came about and it was like the end of the night, we got paid from the venue. You know, we figured out our merch sales and shit and like where to put our money. Then we were just like, all right, like, we're all tired as fuck. We're going to go home. But the ride home I had with Joel was awesome. Like, we were still just talking about the show and like the future and like what we want to do and plans. And like, we were just in that beautiful, like,
that's beautiful
moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, man. That euphoria, man. So
yeah, that's the word I was trying to find. Euphoria.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that we got the beautiful stuff out of the way, can I ask you about the logistics? Like, as far as how does it work as far as setting up the concert? Do you have a concert director? Do you talk to the owner? How do you figure out the money? Like, did the money actually come through the way you you know, made it? Like, the deal that you made, like, did it, you know what I'm saying? Talk to us about the logistics, man.
Yeah, the technicals. So basically, when it comes to shows, most of the time when you go to a venue, a lot of the people that already work there are going to be helping you guys out, making sure y'all are good to begin with. You know, typically there's a sound guy. He runs obviously the stage and the sound and shit. You have a bouncer to make sure no fucking weird drunk motherfuckers get weird. And then, you know, you have the ticket guy who's taking your ticket sales and all that shit, you know, yada, yada, yada. For the most part, it's all there for you, which is cool. I mean, unless you're throwing a DIY show that's by yourself and you're correlating the event as a band and you're renting out a space, right? You got to hire people for that shit. You know, completely different. You got to source people out. You got to find, who's going to run the sound for the night? Who's going to run the tickets? You know, all that. But yeah, for the most part, venues in Philly, like bars to begin with, dive bars, pubs, nightclubs, you know, actual event spaces and shit, they have people already there for you. And they walk you through everything. They'll go through sound check with you, like our sound guy. Once we set up our gear and we got that correlated, he was also helping us too with, like, you know, setting up the cabs and bringing shit in, cables, all that. He'll run a sound check. He'll test everything, you know, ask if we all sound good, like in our own juncture of the stage, if we like how we sound, you know, yada, yada, yada. But that's pretty much how that goes.
But
And
how
then
do you?
yeah.
I'm sorry. How do you find an event, and are you talking to the owner per se of the vicinity, like to figure out, you know, as far as the deal, the money, like all of that stuff?
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So YDC, the headliner, correlated the show. So we just got put on, but they set up the show. So what I would assume they did is they found the venue. Maybe they went to the venue. Maybe it was a local thing and they've been tapped in for the whole scene for a long time over at that place. You find a bartender. You find maybe somebody that works there at the venue. Maybe you're in there drinking a fucking Coke, but you got the plan in your head because you know what it is. And then it's like, yo, let me get the booking manager's email. Let me get the manager's email. Let me get a phone number. Let me get you know, a date. Do you have any shows that's coming up that needs openers, period? You know, you kind of have to think before you do. Like, going with the mindset that you're trying to get something first to utilize that for later. And it's not to sound weird, but it's more so getting information from the venues beforehand is going to help open your source palette of like people to hit up when you want to do shows, even in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, one email can last a lot of years, especially if you try to play there one time. They like you. All right, come back. You did a great show. Come back in like a month and we'll put you on. Maybe we'll throw you a little more bread because you brought up more tickets. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But yeah, you have to reach out to the venues for sure directly. That's the only way you're going to be able, unless you have a friend that works at these places. Most of the time you got to go directly to the people that work at these places.
So how did you guys figure out the money situation? Like, before the concert, did the main band kind of tell you what the money situation will be? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, so they initially, we got an email from the actual promoter of the fire, and they CC'd all of the bands in the email, and they basically just went over like the house rules. They went over like the age limit, what they had to provide, and they, you know, basically went over the money situation for the sales. 9 times out of 10, most smaller places are going to basically take a percentage of your ticket sales to a certain amount of money because they have to pay back production costs, right? They got to pay the fucking bartender. They got to pay the sound guy. They got to pay the weird bull that's taking your tickets. And then maybe the weird dude at the back that's, you know, going to clean up the fucking room. You know what I'm saying? Because kids decided to, you know, spill a Bud Light. Those people got to get paid first. You know what I'm saying? Plus a rental cost if it's a fucking private owned business. And that's like worst case scenario. If it's a business and it's already established, you know, then they don't have to do any rental costs. But for the 9 times out of 10, they're gonna give you a cost for the whole production of everything and who they got to pay. They're gonna say, okay, out of your ticket sales, we're gonna take this much percentage out of that, and once we hit that mark, then the rest is y'all's.
Okay.
So like, I forget what we made last night in total. I think for the whole show it was like fucking 400 something.
And they pay you right away? Like, they
pay you at the end.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when you're done, they pay you, right?
Yeah. So when we finished up for the whole gig, they literally just had all the bands just pull up to the bar. They also had emo karaoke like that night. So like, they were holding off and, you know, waiting for all of us to get paid before they did their own separate thing until like 2 in the morning. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they just brought all the bands over and basically just went over. And this is what I love about this specific venue. The guy that's like the promoter, or like whoever the finance guy is there, he showed the fucking bands what it broke down to. That's really fucking important. If people at the venues don't show you nothing.
But
You know what I'm
why
saying?
though,
And
right?
explain.
You know why though? Because he wants to keep a good relationship with all you guys. It would be dumb not to, you know what I'm saying, do that, bro.
Absolutely. And that brings, you know, bands back, that
Exactly.
brings crowds back and money back, which is great.
Exactly.
You know, and that goes for any, even if it's DIY, like you want to be able to show the bands like what you put out as a spot, you know, and if you hit that mark and then what everybody's getting paid based on that mark, you know, which is fantastic. That's really thorough. Like it's a very good thing to do that, you know, but that was cool. So yeah, he broke it down on a sheet to us. He read us the production costs, what it costed for all the people to be there. And then, you know, once he subtracted that, what we got at the end and why. He
Yeah.
explained it to us too. Like he was thorough as fuck. So venues that do that are the venues you want to stick around for sure. If you're going into venue situations that don't show you nothing, bitch, be like, I want to see it. Like I need to see why,
Yeah,
and you know, all that stuff.
I bet you weren't thinking about, like, money was probably the last thing on your mind after the show, man.
This is SouLivate.
So
Absolutely, dude. Like, I mean, I was happy when we got the bread because we all got it in a pot here and shit at the house now. But like, I was not thinking about no fucking money till the end of the night. Like after we packed all the shit, it was like it was dead last. I was like, okay, whatever. I don't even care if that shit was $15, dude.
yeah.
All right, I'll get a Twix bar at 7-Eleven, bro. Like, I'm happy we played
It's
for some
not
people.
about that. It's not about that, man. So I want to say from me to you, congratulations, man. It sounds like, you know, man, I wish I was there, bro. I wish, like, because as soon as I told my wife about like the mosh pit, she was like, ooh, I ain't trying to do that. So but next show I'm there. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. This is what I want to ask you.
Go ahead, brother.
Have you been to live concerts and performances yourself? Have you been to shows? And what were some of the shows that stood out to you?
Oh, I got a few.
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, I've been to a bunch of live shows. I'm very sporadic when it comes to like my shows. I typically just go for people that I like to hear. I don't really, I mean, it's really occasional that I pop out to shows just to like seek out new music just because I like to go listen to what I listen to. But there are case scenarios where like I'll get dragged along or like my friends like, yo, let's just pop out to this show and go see what's up. You know, and I'll go in the mindset of like, okay, I'm not gonna know the music, but fuck, I can meet somebody important, you know what I'm saying, just by accident and discover a band that I'm gonna like, maybe long term, you know, just the unknown of it. You know, I think that's a cool thing too. So I'm slowly now starting to revolve my concert approach into that. But yeah, I mean, as far as gigs that stood out, there was this gig at this place called Bonk's Bar in Philly, and it was if I'm being real, it was probably like my first real beat down hardcore show. There was a ton of fucking people. So like the bar, how do I explain this? Here's where the venue part is, right? And then over here at the front is like where the bar is at. It's like on a corner, right? The side of the venue is a garage that they basically renovated into it's just a room. There's no stage. So like the band's just right on the floor and the crowd is right there. You're just right in fucking front of them. So it's like, it's as close as you can get if you don't kiss them, right? So boom, I went to that shit. I took Joel and I actually took a couple of my friends from like another group chat I have, like my high school friends. They don't listen to music, like metal music at all or punk music. They're all into rap and stuff, which is great, you know, but like this was their first time seeing what Philly style is about. I was like, yeah, this is going to be fun. I pulled them up and shit. We got there. It was fucking packed. Like it was packed enough to the point where it's like the venue, like the actual, like it's a garage door that they open. You can just walk into the venue right there. It's outside basically. There were so many fucking people that people were on the sidewalk watching into the fucking venue, plus everybody inside the venue.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually got to see a full crowd of heads going retarded to like a punk band in the city. It was the coolest thing ever, but one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. Because that was my first time seeing it. I had never seen such a thing. All the shows I've gone to, like, it was a lot more controlled and not as violent, I guess you could say. It was more just like just kids just shoving each other and like, you know, just jumping on each other. But this was like first time I saw kids fucking hitting each other. Like everybody's fighting. I was like, yo, this is wild, right? I got like one little chance in the middle of like, there was like 5 bands. The band that was headlining was called Out of Pocket. They're from the Bay. Shout out OP. I love you guys. I got y'all t-shirt. Haywire was on the bill. Final Resting Place. There was another band, Out of Pocket, and some other heads, but there was like one part of the night where I actually jumped in the fucking pit and I was terrified to be in it. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm going to get hit by accident because these kids don't care, bro. Like, it's a free for all. Like, it's different. So, like, yeah, I was pretty scared at that show, but it was like a cool, interesting, good scare, I guess. Like, but yeah. Oh, and then at the end of the show, that's the last thing I said. The end of the show was fucking awesome. When Out of Pocket was playing, I was just in the crowd far back from the front, so I wouldn't get hit. Yeah. Actually, 2 things. Actually, before I get to that, let me tell you the first thing. The one band, I forget if it was Haywire, which band it was, but I was standing on the sidewalk outside looking into the venue. These fucking guys got on the mic, and there was like 5 big fat motherfuckers. They're like fucking 6'5", bro. They look like bodybuilders, right? Dude gets on the mic and says, go get those motherfuckers on the sidewalk. Go get those motherfuckers. Bro, 5 big-ass bodybuilder bulls.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. Just run the hell up and just push everybody. Just like shove everybody. And then it's like they're fucking beating down on heads on the sidewalk and shit. There's a girl. There was a random little 4'11" bitch that came up to me and fucking tried to punch me in the face, and I shoved her away. It was like ridiculous. Like, that was crazy. That's on video too on YouTube. Actually, that was probably the craziest thing from that night. Out of Pocket was cool though. What I was gonna say, when I was in the crowd for the headlining set, OP, everybody in the room did this thing called 2-stepping. So to educate you guys, it's basically a form of hardcore dancing where you're kind of like running in place. It's kind of like the best way to describe it, but it's like you're not throwing hands, you're literally just kind of like jamming. But everybody in the room did it, and it was the coolest thing ever. There was like the room was electric. It was the coolest experience ever. It was crazy, but yeah.
Have you ever been to a hip hop show?
Yes, I totally have. I love hip hop shows. They are awesome songs.
So who did you go see?
So for hip hop, I've seen a lot of people. I've seen ASAP Rocky and ASAP Mob. I got to see them at the Man in Philly, the Skyline stage. I have seen, rappers. I've seen Future. I've seen Wiz Khalifa. That was at both of those, Future and Wiz Khalifa, were at BB&T in Camden. I saw them. What else did I see? I've seen a lot of underground like rap shows, like even in Trenton, New Jersey, just like small stuff just to pop out too. Trying to think other bigger artists. I've seen Sammy Adams because he's like actually my people's and shit. He was at Warehouse on Watts. What else have I seen? There's definitely more people, but yeah.
So before you go on, the point of my question was, what are some of the differences and some of the similarities between like a hardcore, what is it, metal and a hip hop show, man?
So, I mean, really the biggest differences is just like the crowd, I guess, and how they interact with each other. When you go to, metal shows and like hardcore shows, punk shows, like it's typically a free for all. Whereas like if you go to like a rap show or like a hip hop show, people are, if there's a pit, people just kind of just ding, here's a push, here's a little, yeah, bro, like let me get on your shoulders. This shit's fire, bro. Like it's more just like very chill, and just fun and just kind of like uppity, just upbeat. So that's like a big difference. And then honestly, from what I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I could probably say it. A lot more people drink at rap shows.
Yeah.
At least from what I've seen, like from my experience, like I've seen a lot more people get drunk as fuck at rap shows, whereas like people at punk shows, they don't drink. They're just fucking like, they're just ready to go.
It's the energy, bro. They don't need nothing. Yeah, I feel you. So
yeah.
So the reason why I asked you all of this is what we want to know is what's the difference between being at a show as a spectator and performing, man?
It's pretty different. I mean, like when you're just in the crowd and you're enjoying the music, you're kind of just living in the moment with your friends. Like Some people like to go by themselves just to literally just be in the moment and just enjoy the music and hang out. Even at hardcore shows, like there's not everybody's moshing. You know, there's people at the bar. There's people just hanging back and just, you know, just enjoying themselves. It's the same thing at, you know, even at rap shows. Like, you know, you can just enjoy the music or you can get involved and get hyped. Now, as a performer, I mean, that's all up to you. You can choose what the fuck you want to be on stage. If you want to be an exert ball and just get rid of all that energy and just headbang, or like, you know, if you're a rapper and you just want to jump around and flex, you know, pull the chain up a little bit, say, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's all a part of what you want to do. And spectating on a crowd when you're performing, you know, I mean, at least from our experience being a band, usually when the artists see the crowd interacting better, the artists start to perform a little bit more towards that catering. So it's like, if we see a pit, we're going to get excited and we're going to start playing like we're fucking excited. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's like kind of chill and everybody's hanging out, you know, we can kind of match that energy, you know, just be like on some vibey shit. And then sometimes, like even with rap shows too, depending on the type of person you are, if the song is really lit, like the song itself, if a rapper performs and the crowd is dummy fun, like they're bouncing up, you can just be on some cordial shit while they having a fun time. Like, you know, just rock your shit and feel good about yourself, you know? So it's all just whatever you want to take it as a performer.
That's what's up.
So
that's what's up, man. So can you break down that feeling that you told me last night, because it's stuck in my head and I already asked you about it, but if you could please break it down, that you said, you know, aside from recording, writing, and, you know, like being in the studio and everything, performing is your favorite part. Like, break that
100%.
feeling down, man. Why you think that's your favorite feeling, man?
I think for me, it's when we're actually, I'll put it like this. When we've recorded and we've written music before, we have little spurts of like inspiration and like aha moments, right? Where like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, I feel good about this. Like, I can't believe I just wrote that. Or like, I can't believe we just did that. Whereas like when you perform, it's like that the whole time, the entire time. You're like, I'm here, I'm living in the moment, and I'm just living through like pure adrenaline and, you know, pure fun. And it's like, it's obsessive. It's like the coolest. It's so hard to explain, but it's just like this feeling of like, you worked all this time, you made all this fucking music to, you know, what's the word? Like heal yourself, or, you know, talk about for yourself to release something. And then it's like, you get to see all these people right in the crowd singing along to your shit or jamming out or fighting whatever the fuck. And it's like, you just get to see that visually. And it's like, that's like when you see the hard work pay the hell off. You know, it's like when you're in a football game and like, you know, maybe you're a part of the NFL, you've been practicing all these days and like you've had all these different little tweaks to the performance that you got, you know, maybe like one practice, like you fell down, or like maybe one practice, like, you know, you could have changed a finger and caught the ball better. And it's like next practice, you got that. And then you do your game day, right? And you're sitting there and it's like, it all comes together and then everybody fucking loves it. It's like signing the check, man.
Incredible.
It's good to go. It's a beautiful feel. It's a beautiful feeling, man.
Incredible, man.
So it's so hard to explain, but that's the best way I could do it, man.
Yeah, man. So what's the future for Tripod, man?
Everything. I mean, we want to take over. We want to take over our area. We want to take over the globe. We want to spread our music far and wide, as far as it can go around this planet. We want to help people. We want to save people's lives. We want to affect people in the best positive way as much as we can. Even if what we write about is depressing, or if it's deep, or if it's sad, whatever, we want that, you know, response for people to be positive for them in the way that they shape it. You know, we don't condone killing people, you know, nothing fucked up or weird like racism or, you know, any bullshit, you know, just for whatever. And it's important that people listen to our music to take it in, you know, to find something they relate to in it. You know, like I think it's so important now that kids get back to finding music that they like because they feel it and they relate to it.
Not because it's trending, man, because you actually like it. That's why I respect what you do so much, man.
Absolutely, bro. And like Joel will even tell you, like all the songs he's written about so far with all of us are like experiences. His notebook is full, bro. It's like his notebook is full of poetry, and like every time we write, we always go into mindset. We're like, we're gonna write something real. We're gonna write parts we like, and like Joel, like he's just gonna be himself and talk about what he wants to talk about. He don't give a fuck about a filter. You know what I mean? And we hope somebody finds some, you know, some light in that at a show or just by themselves, maybe with headphones, by themselves listening.
You said something dope, something else dope last night. You said that, you know, that you're not going, once you get, you know, to the level that you guys are going, that you don't want to forget about the bands that are coming up.
Absolutely.
You know, you said that I want to make sure that we help out the bands that are coming up, man. Talk about that, man, because I thought that was ill, bro, that you said that.
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think one of the biggest, you know, like I said earlier, like, you know, our scene is very driven around community, and, you know, bands help other bands. There's still bigger bands that, you know, help the little guys that are just trying to get started, and they just do it because they like their music and they have a, you know, a personal connection with them and shit. Like, I think it's so important if we ever, when we get to that point of stardom, you know what I'm saying? When we get to that point of like, you know, we're really up top and we're touring more and like, you know, we're traveling and it's a bigger deal, that we show love to all the venues and the people that believed us, you know, believed in us from the jump, even if they're not in bands. And we do as much as we can to help out the scene and just make it bigger than life, you know?
What do you think the future is for metal? And do you think that metal should go pop, or do you think that metal should remain the way it's been throughout all these years because it gives it like this rawness that maybe you don't want to lose? But then on the other hand, like, you know, because we had this happen with hip hop. You know, I told you when I was a kid, it was an underground thing, man, and it was something, you know, special that we felt that was like our own, you know, like
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
When you seen somebody, you know, with saggy like baggy pants, you're like, "Ooh, that's a rapper. I want to go talk to him." You know, it was like a small like type community thing. But then when hip hop grew worldwide, you know, we have no choice but to accept it. But I think that some of the like principles and the roots of it kind of got lost. So what do you feel like for metal? Because metal's been around forever, man, and it's always been like this sort of like underground thing, but then again, it's worldwide, man. So do you think it should remain like that, or do you want to see it take over, man?
Oh, this is such a good question, because it's like, it's all perspective. Honestly, in my opinion, I think if you're a fan of metal music in general, you know, maybe you can find bands that you want to gatekeep, you know, bands that are coming up that, you know, are special to you. That's kind of the thing. It's like, at the end of the day, metal music, punk music, rock, whatever, any genre is always going to grow at some point. You know, there's bands from the hardcore scene, you know, that, you know, got signed and then they made it big and they took their whole vibe and like made it bigger than life. You know, people like Turnstile, you know, Knock Loose, Speed, you know, a lot of these bands that got signed and just took it out of life, you know, they did it because I think at the end of the day, every band, if you're doing it for a serious aspect, wants success. You know, whether that's corporate or whether that's for, you know, the result of more people coming to your shows, there's a different reason for everybody. I think metal as a whole, and even, you know, you get into other genres like rap music and shit that was underground, there's always going to be an underground for. I don't think you can take that away.
Yeah.
Regardless if it gets big or like certain bands individually make it up or like bigger rappers take it all the way up, you know, there's always going to be an underground scene that everybody starts at, and it's always going to be alive. Like, you can't kill the base of what starts. You know what I'm saying? If you try to make fucking everything corporate like that, like everybody gets signed, then it's like everybody's a star. Not everybody's meant to be a star. There's going to be the bands and rappers that, you know, do this just because they love it and they want to have fun and they don't want to make like a living out of it or anything like that. They just do it because they love it. And then there's the bands that, you know, do it for that reason, but they want to make a living out of it and sustain, you know, so it all depends. But I mean, me personally, I personally feel like any genre deserves to gain growth no matter what. I think oversaturation is the problem.
Yes.
You know, people overdoing it and taking it to a place where it's just very repetitive, or it's, you know,
Yes.
substantially the actual music itself can get very cycled into like a
Mumble
trend.
rap.
Mumble is straight up, bro. Like mumble rap, any of that shit. Like if it becomes a fucking trend, that's how you know motherfuckers are trying to take it to the growth standpoint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like make it bigger than life. Like the cool thing, at least right now, is like punk music and hardcore is still pretty gate kept, you know, for the most part. Like you can go to these small shows and a lot of these bands will, like, you know, they're not Hollywood. You can talk to them, you know, you can talk to them about their life, you know. Whereas like you go to a show that you're paying a lot of tickets for, like unless you're going to a VIP meet, like you just see them and you go home. So the scene's always going to be there. I'm all for the growth, but don't take the underground away.
You know what I think is beautiful nowadays, and this is what I've been realizing in the past like couple years, is that you don't have to be on the radio to be a worldwide star, man.
Yeah.
Because of social media, because of all these streaming platforms, I'm discovering bands and artists every day that are humongous all around the world, but you don't, you know, they're not on TV, they're not doing Oprah and shit, you know what I'm saying? But they're selling out. They're selling out 5,000-10,000 people venues, and you know their fans are extremely loyal and they're big all around the world. Like even with this Rolling Stone America's Next Top Hitmaker, there's this band Lilac. I don't know if you heard of them.
I've heard of Lilac.
So they're in the quarterfinals, right? So I'm going through the people that are in the quarterfinals.
Holy Christ, really?
Yeah, so I'm going through the people that are going through the quarterfinals, and I'm looking these people up because I feel honored to be with these people in the quarterfinals, right? So
absolutely,
I look up this band, and they have like 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, and they have millions of views, but I've never heard of them. And I'm realizing is that now music scene is not what it used to be, that you have to be on the radio, or you got to be on BT, or like you can make a successful career and not be all Hollywood and shit. You know what I'm saying? You can
absolutely.
And you can, like, even Tekashi 6ix9ine talked about it, that he sold out concerts in Europe way before he got discovered in America. You know what I'm saying? Like he was touring in Eastern Europe, like Slovakia and Ukraine and shit, bro. Like, you know,
that's the thing too, is like, unfortunately, we live in a state of mind and a state of music now where like the corporations and the company will tell you the opposite. They say you got to go Hollywood. You got to do this.
True, though.
It's not
true. And
you're the ones that have the power. The artists and the bands have the power to make a choice.
Yes, and I think like even if you think of a rapper like NF, right? Like the dude is, as far as I know, the dude is like independent, and he has a core following, man. The people that will, every time he releases something, they're there, they're supporting, you know, they're showing love, man. And I think that now, don't be so focused on, oh, I gotta be on TV or on the radio. Like those days are over, bro. Like you can be successful, you can make a career. And I think and I'm realizing this more and more, is like even what we do with SouLivate, to build that like hardcore following that you can call your family. I think that that's most important. The people that will go out and spend $100 a year, you know, whatever it is, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every time you got a t-shirt, every time you do a show, every time you do a podcast, like they're there, man. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think the start for a band like such as Treepod is doing shows like this, being personal with the people, showing them that you care, like thinking about different schemes for the show and shit. Like I think that's the way you really build this hardcore following when you're a metal band.
Take notes. He's spitting.
But would you agree with that though? Like,
100%. I fully agree with that. Yeah, like I said, there is a home for everybody to get started. And at the end of the day, it's only up to you as far as how far you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? Like content is the driving backbone of music nowadays. And it's obviously a sucky thing for the people that don't want to do it and they just want to be the artist or be the rapper or the band, you know, but you got to play the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just in the stationary like time we live in, you got to play the game a little bit just to get you going. And then once you're going, then you drive. You figure it out. You make the calls. You make the shots. And then you take yourself where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? You got to put gas in the car to make it drive. You got to pay for it. It sucks, but shit.
You know, from the algorithm and from the statistics that I'm looking at, the way media in totality is evolving right now is
what?
Because we thought, you know, that once AI comes in, AI is going to take over and everything like that. But the opposite is happening, because now that AI is so in our faces, people want to have a living person interaction, man.
Yeah, people hate it. People fucking hate it.
Exactly. And I think that, you know, even when an AI could clone a Drake's voice, I think that, you know, going to see a tripod at a live venue will be like a priceless thing, man, forever. You know what I mean?
Oh my, absolutely, 100%, Luli, 100%. And any other band or any other rapper, I fully agree with that. No, hey, listen, maybe at that point, if we get AI'd, we made it. Maybe if we get AI'd and copied on the internet, we made it. We did good. You know, maybe that'll be our checkpoint, but fuck AI. Use it as a tool. Don't ruin music.
Yeah, I think that the as you spoke about the corporate, I think the corporate kind of shot themselves in the foot with, you know, because they thought that, oh, you know, I can have AI and they can do everything. But from the statistics that I'm seeing is people want to see a living person that reminds them of them. Like you spoke about, writing about and performing about the normal life experiences, man. People don't want to see that go away, man.
Nah, if we start seeing that going away, music's done for. Because that's not the point of music. The point of music is to find yourself as a person by writing it and then letting the other people that listen to it find something in themselves that they see in that music.
Yeah.
And that's what creates unity. You know what I mean?
So my next question for you, Mr. Spencer Tripod Reese, are you ready for 100K, bro?
Shit, I better be. 100K is ridiculous, but when we get that, I mean, I'm gonna need a soda or something, because holy fuck. But I think if I've been around enough crowds in my life, big and small, it'll definitely make my balls drop a little bit. But I mean, when we get there, shit, that's up to God.
Listen, this is SouLivate episode 4, man, and I couldn't thank you. Like, I couldn't be more thankful, man, to all you SouLivate fams, man, to my beautiful wife, to Spencer Reese, man. I couldn't be more grateful right now. I got a personal question to wrap this up, man, because
Talk to me, brother.
You are such a versatile artist, right? So you, like, you know, you're a hit maker, bro. You're jumping on hooks with me. You're making them incredible. You're doing hip hop. You're doing metal. Let's say that your solo career starts simultaneously taking off and you have that decision to make between the band and the solo. Like, how do you think, if I know that, you know, you're not in that situation yet, but if you can project that situation, how do you think you will approach it?
I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, I don't want to leave anything behind that I already enjoy doing regardless. I mean, I don't want to change the program. If, you know, the success gets, you know, bigger for us when it does for Tripod, you know, I think it's important that I still cater to what I love doing, whether that's songwriting with other people, getting in the studio with other people, whether it's hip hop, rock, pop, R&B, any of that shit. I love working with people. I love people, you know? So I think, like, I've always been one to show love to everybody.
Yes.
And like, I want to be able to care for everybody as much as I can for myself too. But I don't want to, you know, clip anything out of my program that, you know, I enjoy doing. Even if it's solo project stuff, I still want to write demos, because you never know who's watching. You never know who you could get it to. You know what I mean? You never know what kind of effect it could make on people.
Mm-hmm.
So why kill that chance? Fuck that.
My question was, just bear with me for a little bit. My question is, because you do have a solo career, there is a Spencer Reese, you do write your own music, you do perform, you know, you do everything yourself. So let's say your solo career is taking off and the band's career is taking off. What would be the key things that you would have to look at from both sides in order to make that decision? Which way am I gonna go?
Well, I mean, it's more of a devotion thing, obviously. Like, if I know Tripod has a big future for all of us, and like, it's just something, it's my dire passion and what I love to do, I'm just going to follow my heart. I'm going to follow where I go with that. But, as far as balancing out and still writing, I still want to make sure that I cater to that at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to leave it behind. Yeah, I think it's just going to be more of like a follow where your heart goes situation once we get there. I guess that's the best way to put it.
So check it out, man. From me and the whole SouLivate fam, I told you right away, man. As soon as I heard the first track of Tripod, because I'm such a hip hop head, man.
Yeah.
And I was bobbing my head. I told you guys are amazing, and you guys are gonna go super far, man. Like,
thank you so much, man.
And back in the day, yo, my nickname was the Prophet. So sometimes I'll be prophesizing shit, man. So I wish y'all the best of fortune. I believe in you guys beyond believing, man. I know. That's why I always say, like, I know. I don't say if, I say when.
Yes, he's getting me on that habit, by the way. Yeah, probably all watching. He's getting my ass on that habit.
So to thank the whole SouLivate fam for being with us for episode 4, for this whole experience, for sharing, for experiencing what we experienced today with Spence taking us there, visually, man, like, the way vividly, man, taking us there so we can experience this with him. So thank you to Spence. Thank you to SouLivate fam. Thank you to my beautiful wife, Rolling Stone, America's Next Top Beatmaker. We're still here. So Spence, Mr. Spence Tripod Reese, take us out of here, baby.
It's Spencer Reese, SouLivate fam. I love you guys. We both love you guys. We appreciate everybody that tunes in. Be on the lookout for our show September 7th. We might have a show September 14th. We just dropped a brand new single for Tripod called Bite Marks. It's out right now on all platforms. Go stream that. Go put it in a TikTok. Maybe show it to your grandmother. I think she'll love it. And with that being said, we love you guys so much, man.
Yo, what a sick name, man. Bite Marks, man. We love you guys, man. We out of here. Bite Marks, man. Uno.
This is SouLivate.